Thanks for listening to the NVTV podcast, produced by Nequa Media.
Welcome to this episode of the NVTV podcast. I'm Arda Achman. On today's show, we are interviewing Ms. Traut on being a media teacher here at Nequa. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Arda, for having me.
Now, you're a department chair here at Nequa Valley.
That is correct.
But your job from a day-to-day could change drastically because of that role. But within your class, what class do you teach and what goes on every day?
I teach during one class period because of my department chair duties, but I teach it's called Media Production 2 and Media Production 3, but the students in the media program know it better as the broadcast journalism class. And I also do teach newspaper journalism as well this year.
So what do students do on a day-to-day basis within that class?
Within the media class?
Yes, ma'am.
Within broadcast journalism, oh, goodness, it depends on the day and it depends on what all they're involved in. So the class itself is broken down into 4 different groups. The reason we do that is so students can rotate from job to job when it comes to producing Wildcat Weekly and either podcasts such as this or NV Pulse stories. So what they do each day depends on which group they're in. So we've got a group right now who is working on this week's Wildcat Weekly show. Then there's another group who will have the following week's Wildcat Weekly. So they're going to kind of be a week behind what one group is. So the group that has the show this week, they're worrying about editing their stories together and getting the actual show together so that we can air it on a Friday. The group that's a week behind them might be doing their interviews at the moment. They're shooting their interviews with people. They are shooting what we call B-roll, which is all of the background video that you see that goes with the story to help visually tell the story. Then behind them is a group that is probably in the early stages of planning their Wildcat Weekly stories. Hopefully they know what their story is, but maybe they're just getting to the point of scheduling those interviews with people or figuring out who it is they want to interview, but have not necessarily done the interview yet. So they might be writing out their questions that they're going to ask, doing some research to find out a little bit more information about the story that they're telling. Then the 4th group, they are probably working on either their podcasts or their NV Pulse stories because they would have just done a Wildcat Weekly story last week. So when they finish Wildcat Weekly, then they have to produce either a podcast or the Pulse story. And the Pulse story are the short little stories that we put on our social media channels.
Got it. So all this gets posted on Wildcat Weekly at YouTube or what?
No, so the media department has a YouTube channel. It's called NequaTV.org is the actual URL, and that's our YouTube channel, and it's Wildcat Weekly stories or shows get posted there. We're going to start posting the podcasts there. All of the live events that we do are there. Any other tapings that we do. So all of the spirit videos that the production students produced. There's promo videos that are out there. Some of the advanced production students' work will get posted on there. Sometimes there's videos on there that have to do with the school itself, various different videos for that. So there's a number of different things on our YouTube channel. I strongly recommend people check it out. But NequaTV.org is where it's at. But there's a plethora of videos that are on that channel.
Now, going back to one of the first things you said about the channel, you started talking about the live streams that we do. What events here at Nequa do you guys live stream?
It varies a little bit from year to year, but for the most part, there are some sporting events. And a lot of it depends, too, on student interest. But sporting events is one thing that we try to do as often as we can. Sometimes it's hard to find students to work on the crews because you guys are so busy yourselves and have lives and are working and are involved with so many other things. So we try to, if we can, stream the football games, and we definitely try to do a few basketball games during the school year. We have done swimming. We have done water polo. We've done volleyball, girls and boys volleyball. We've done badminton. Especially during the pandemic, we streamed a lot of sports because crowds were restricted. People couldn't come in to watch the sporting event. So I was grateful that we were able to provide that service to our community and stream a lot of the sporting events so families could see their kids play.
Were you guys able to, do you guys stream other things other than sporting events as well?
We do. For example, we started last year streaming the Saturday night performance of the Orchesis Showcase. So that's a nice service we can provide. We stream the Crystal concert every year, the Friday evening performances of Crystal concert. We stream our graduation ceremonies. We stream other things such as the NEQA Honors or the Senior Honors Award Ceremony. There are, let's see what else, Veterans Ceremony in November we also do. And then anything else throughout the year just kind of depends. For example, earlier in January, we streamed the High School 101 program so that families who weren't able to get to the auditorium to hear what high school life is all about would be able to tune in and watch the event either from home or watch it afterwards. So it depends on the year. Things vary from year to year, what we stream, but...
You guys stream a lot.
We do. Not it's not a ton of things, but it's a significant amount, yeah.
So who gives you, is it the media department that says, hey, we're going to stream this, this, and that? Or do you guys have to, or do the athletic directors reach out to you and say, hey, could you come stream this? Or like the Orchesis dance captains, I guess you could call them? Or I'm not sure what the Orchesis directors are called.
It's a little bit of everything. Miss Katie Simmons, who oversees Orchesis, came to us earlier in the year last year, to see if we would be willing to stream the Orchesis Showcase. They used to have an outside company, but she wanted to turn it over to our students to be able to do. So I'm grateful for that. So we help them with that. When it comes to athletics, usually it's the media students who drive that. They're the ones that usually will come to Mr. Gelsomino or myself to say, hey, can we stream and, said sport, whether it's football, volleyball, basketball, whatever. And so then we'll work with them to try to make sure we stream. Sometimes we even get our NEQA administration who will sometimes ask us to stream things like High School 101, or we've always done graduation. We've always taped that and streamed that. So that's one that just kind of is a routine. It's just one of those things that's expected that we do. But sometimes they'll come to us and ask us to stream various things for various different reasons. So we're usually happy to.
Now, with graduation and these sporting events, it doesn't seem like it's a small production. It seems like you guys have, like, a lot of things that go into filming this whole big event. Mm-hmm. So how much time and what equipment do you guys use to set up and actually make it happen?
Well, we're very fortunate that the majority of the equipment that we have in the media program has been given to us via grant funding. It's not tax dollar based or anything like that. It's grant funds that are available either through Perkins grants or CTEI, which is Career Tech Education Innovation. So we're fortunate that we are have just access to some grant funds to be able to get some nice equipment for the students to be able to use. So in terms of what kind of equipment, it depends on the event that we're actually streaming, whether it's a simple 2-camera shoot, whether it's a 4-camera, or, for example, we're going to be setting up for Variety Show, and right now, unless we add some more, we're looking at a 6-camera shoot that we're doing for that. So it really varies, that amount of equipment. So it's not just cameras, but we have a switcher, an audio board, all the cables that go with it, all the cables that you need to stream. You need a computer to have the software to stream on. So it's a number of things, but we do it so often that Mr. Gelsomino and I are pretty good with not having to look at a list of what we need. We just kind of picture the setup in our head, and we're able to walk through that and figure out what equipment we need and get it all together, stack it together in the studio, and then have it ready to go on the day that we're going to stream.
Do you guys just show up on the day that you're going to stream and then set up then? Or do you guys have some, like, prep days and it takes, like, a good bit to set everything up?
That's a great question. Usually it's the day of. Again, it depends on what it is that we're streaming, but for the most part, most of the events are in the evening, so we can maybe do a little bit of setup during the day, But Mr. Gelsomino and I are busy with our day jobs, so it's sometimes hard to do that. So usually it's an after school. We'll take, the setup time could be anywhere from, say, 2 to 3 hours, depending on how many cameras we have, how much equipment we have. But the students that we have are amazing and awesome, and they help us out, such as yourself. You guys help us out with setting things up. And the more students do it, the faster it goes, because then you guys know what's going on. And you guys are also great with helping out our students who are rookies at it and who have never done it before. And you guys help them out and teach them what they need to know about streaming.
Well, thank you on behalf of myself as well as the rest of the students that go do that.
Of course.
But so like for V Show, you have 6 cameras, and then you went on talking about the switcher, computer, and audio board, and I'm probably missing something because I'm not able to visualize all the stuff and then just head out there. But how do you guys communicate with that many people during this like loud performance of a song, spoken word, or something like that?
Well, everybody on the crew wears headsets. So we've got a great headset system, wireless headset system. So the person in the back who determines what cameras people see, that's called the director. And so it's the director's responsibility to call the camera shots. So maybe there's a shot, camera one has a really great shot that they like, and they'll call for that camera to be on the air. And then the technical director is the one that hits the buttons to actually put that camera's image on the air so that we see that.
And that's on the switcher, right?
Correct. And so then the director will go throughout the show. We'll be directing the camera operators to get certain shots. Maybe they need to zoom in. Maybe they need to pan, tilt, whatever the case might be. And they'll direct those camera operators to get those particular shots. And then they call the cameras and call the shots as they see them. So they're communicating to those camera operators through those wireless headphones that everybody is wearing.
Perfect. Now, you talked about setup, how you guys are usually able to set up the day of. But now going on the opposite end of that, the takedown. These events go till like 10 o'clock, some of them.
Yep.
Like V Show, I've been on crew for that before, and that goes pretty late.
Yeah.
Do you guys strike or take down everything the night of always?
99% of the time, yes. And then one of the reasons we do that is because usually the space that we're in is being used by something else the next day. For example, if we're in our gymnasium streaming a basketball game, that gym is going to be used the next day for PE classes. Or it could be used bright and early in the morning for one of the sports. They might have practice in there. So we have to take down our equipment. Otherwise, it just gets in the way and we run the risk of it being ruined. Same with the auditorium. When we're in there for Variety Show, when Variety Show finishes, we'll take down that Saturday night. 1, because we have our crew with us, so we can take it down. And 2, starting that Sunday, they start to turn the auditorium around for whatever's coming in next afterwards.
All right, perfect. I got one last question for you before we wrap this up. So going back to your department chair role, you said that you're only able to teach one class, well, kind of 2 with the Echo alongside the broadcast journalism.
Right.
But you're only able to teach during one class period. Does that department chair role conflict with these filmings at all, or make it more challenging to make these happen?
Usually it doesn't conflict because the majority of my department chair responsibilities happen during the school day, and very rarely will we have an event during the school day. On occasion we do. So, for example, veterans ceremony. And I just tell my teachers in the other departments, hey, this is where I'm going to be that day. I'm going to be in the auditorium working with the veterans ceremony. If they need me, they know they can text me if it's an emergency. But usually that doesn't happen, and usually all is good.
I know I said one last question, but you just brought something to my mind. So if it's an emergency, whenever you're running a crew like this or a production like this, you don't want any emergencies to happen.
Correct.
But over the however many years you have done this, how many has it been?
I've been teaching for 28 years.
28 years. Or how long have you been live streaming?
As long as the technology's been around.
Okay.
So are you asking if we've ever had an emergency during a live stream?
Not quite an emergency, but like any major conflict that needed to be resolved?
Fortunately, the only things we've had during some live streams are either dead batteries in cameras. Sometimes a camera will fail and go down. There's been once or twice where we've had a student who has fainted. And sometimes that happens depending on the facility that we're in, if it's really warm out. But for the most part, I'd say no, knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
No major emergencies during some live stream. So I hope you didn't just jinx it.
Hopefully not. Well, thank you to Ms. Traut for joining us today on NVTV Podcast. Podcast is produced by Neuqua Media students at Neuqua Valley High School. Enjoy the rest of your day.